Hey everybody! Welcome back to the Mr. Video Game Live Super Show, brought to you by Dead Sun Entertainment. Clap your hands, say yeah. If of course you remember, we're coming back to you live every Monday. We're a little bit late this week. We apologize. We beg your forgiveness. Of course, yell at us at the Discord and tell us how fucking unprofessional we are. Welcome! It is Monday, October the 28th, 2019. Aren't we excited? I am Slacker Kite, your, host guy, the guy that at least controls all the panels and whatnot that you're viewing, the guy that maybe needs to learn more about Twitch. Anyway, joining me today, don't tell anyone, but he's secretly both Suda51 and Sweary in a man suit. It's Brian, a.k.a. Wonderboy.
I will accept full responsibility for the delay here today. It is all on me. If I could turn my microphone into a person, I would give it a stern talking to and put it in the corner for being a bad boy. I don't know what was going on with that. It's all fixed now. Hopefully you're hearing me and I'm not just blowing into the wind right now. I had a way better response to that awesome joke because both of those dudes are like straight up my alley, and the first thing that came to my mind was that Eric Andre bit where he's like a man on top of another man's shoulders in a giant trench coat trying to buy a car. So I'll just pretend none of this other stuff happened and just revert back to I don't trust like that.
And of course, she was the first at the Fallout, but definitely not the last. It's Lady Marilyn.
I'm still be standing after all of it is ash.
Now normally we would see, how our weeks have been, but our weeks, let's all be honest with ourselves, the weeks have been garbage. Who gives a flying fuck? Let's get into the actual newsy news today. Starting off with, what the fuck else would be the first news for a video game show? It's Fallout first!
Well, okay, see, here's the funny thing. I saw that and I was like, oh, Blizzard. And then I looked down and I'm like, oh, it's Fallout. Okay, so I guess there is competition for the what the fuck else would it be? Anyway, yes, Fallout 76, please. Tell me, what is this golden ticket that I see before me that can be placed into the palms of my hands? I need a new store box.
Oh, you can buy yourself a premium subscription now for Fallout 76. Forget the fact that we were going to bring you all sorts of nice free stuff that the community has been asking for, that we have been promising for months. Now it's been delayed, but in its place, we are selling you Fallout 76 Fallout First. You are invited to pay $13 a month to get your own private world that's exclusive for you. A scrap box where you can unlimitedly store your scrap, a survival tent, 1650 atoms per month for the atom shop, a nice outfit, and icons, emotes, all of that happy bullshit. That is Fallout First. And to say that this set the world on fire, holy shit. The negative response to this is something I have never seen before in my life. It was bad.
I mean, the fact that somebody on Twitter actually threw the whole there's always going to be new content, changes in game balance, whatever it takes. And by the way, it's all free after launch. All our content. There's no season pass and no paid DLCs. Okay.
Whoops.
Okay, because this looks a hell of a lot like a season pass.
And I'm going to be honest with you. Personally, I would have been okay with it if they hadn't delayed the free good content that they had promised, that they have been boosting as the greatest thing to come alive to your Fallout game. And then this.
Well, here's the thing. I would still have had a problem with it even if they had gotten the new stuff out on time. Because we go back to the spiel you gave before, right there. Todd Howard on the E3 stage saying all of this will be supported for free going forward. Like basically saying only cosmetics will be purchasable or cost real money. But then of course they completely and almost immediately went back on that promise by including like pay to win stuff in the storefront going forward. Now they're adding this to it, and like you said, it's like $13.99 a month for the 12-month subscription is $99, basically $100.
Yeah.
Which is more than you paid for the game in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm so, like,
it's more than a year of Netflix.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess so. I haven't looked at the yearly subscriptions for Netflix. I go month to month because I'm a dork. Anyway,
And
but
in
no,
Canadian, we're looking at $130 for the year.
Boof.
US is $95.88 per year.
All
for
right,
Netflix.
well, I'm getting ripped off then. I need to look into that and set that shit up in January. Anyway, but like you were saying, like this, what did you compare this like a season pass, right? The thing is, season passes, they deliver like story content or like character stuff. Like they provide stuff that actually enhances the game you're already playing. This looks to me more like an MMO subscription type thing, where but instead of like having you pay to play this massive world, it's basically making you pay to play in your own private world. And yet, like, that stuff doesn't even necessarily work. Like none of the, like I don't know. It's just even if it did actually like work in what it was trying to do, as we're going to get to in the second article that we have queued up here, because we all know where this story ends. It's a Bethesda thing. We know where it ends. Bugs. So, but like even if it had worked in that way, like I just don't understand the appeal of what they're offering here. Like the worlds were never that large and expansive with a ton of people to begin with. So I'm assuming if you're giving private worlds, it's because people are wanting to like have more control over their environments. And I don't know if that's right or wrong. I'm not hot on the 76 fan community right now.
I mean, I can understand the appeal of private worlds because like they have that whole communal nuke thing. And I don't want to work my ass off building up a nice little camp and for somebody to come and blow the fucker up.
Okay.
But yeah, we kind of leaned on this a little bit. But and thank you, Forbes, for this delightful article. Because if the sheer hilarity of them selling themselves out here wasn't enough, it doesn't work right.
Once again, where did you think this story was ending? Like that's just where I was always going to be with Bethesda. Even whenever their stuff works, this is where the story ends. You know?
Yeah, your private worlds are full of dead NPCs in looted areas, reused instances. Your camp, sometimes when you teleport to it, it kills you. You just fall off and die. Had that happen to my roommate. That was... she was very pleased for that. And some people are reporting that the scrap box, the unlimited scrap box, is randomly disappearing and taking all of your scrap along with it. So, in case you wanted to actually build anything, it's gone. It's gone forever.
So that's what they meant by unlimited. As in, like, it could just, like, it's just a giant hole. You just throw stuff in. It doesn't say it's unlimited to take it back out. It's just unlimited to put it in there.
Yeah, a black hole is technically unlimited space. You could throw everything that you own into a black hole. It'll be fine.
Totally. God.
I will say, I've talked to people who have been happy with this. Yet again, former host of the Mr. Video Game Live Super Show, Lady Goggles, has been playing the Fallout first. And she has told me that for the most part, it's been fine for her. And she's enjoyed it, other than the death, from falling off from where she put her camp. But it happens. It's okay. But the Fallout 76 players... I should have put together an article for this one, but I didn't link to it. I'm sorry. I apologize. There's only so many minutes to put this together, but there's been reports as well that regular players of Fallout 76 have started to attack anybody they see with that Fallout First floating badge floating around them.
No fucking surprise. Coming here.
There have been calls on Twitter or on Reddit rather for people with the Fallout First badge to create like a gated community.
Yeah, the 1% of Fallout.
Like, why would you even put a badge on players to distinguish that like you are either on the base game or you paid the extra money? That's just an automatic way to like segregate your community and make them turn on one another. Because I know for a fact that if I was playing this game and I saw some other like rich ass duder walking up with a fucking little golden ticket icon above their head, I don't know what the icon looks like. That's just what I see in my mind. I just that thing over their head. The first thing I want to do is just whip out a fucking buzzsaw and just go to town on them. Like, get the fuck out of my West Virginia. It's just, I don't know. Like, it's super frustrating.
I wish there were better things I could report on this, but the whole thing has been a shit show. My favorite part has just been Jim Sterling, the beginning of his video on this. Just a delightful chuckle, but as things continued to go worse through the week, he was pissed off that he had to report this. He doesn't want to do any more Bethesda, but here he is.
I mean, really, our show is starting to devolve into like, let's rip on Bethesda, let's rip on Blizz. You know, like they should be paying us for this shit.
Yeah, we're giving them free publicity here, aren't we?
And hashtag everything is content.
I mean, it's easy to like drag someone whenever they keep just chalking up softballs for you to just tee up on, you know? Like, this thing, like, just put aside the fact that this is a paid service and that there's all this other stuff that's happening, the technical stuff there. This goes back to the way that they have treated their user base.
Right.
Not just with Fallout 76, but especially with Fallout 76. Because they've made empty promises that they have been very quiet about whenever they failed to deliver on them on the timetable that they've put out, and the things that they've done as like sort of make goods have been super frustrating. Honestly, every month there has been a misstep with this game, to the point that the players within the game's ecosystem have had to create a game that is fun for themselves out of the husk that they were given at launch with Fallout 76. You know, I know whenever we talked about this, we talked about the redemption stories of games like Rainbow Six Siege and No Man's Sky, about like one of these things that you launch a live service, you try and beef it up for the first 6 months so that you can have that redemption story and say, look, it's actually a good game now. But even in this case, Fallout 76 is almost a year old at this point, and it is still a burning garbage fire. Does anybody remember when they tried to put a battle royale mode in this game? Does anybody remember that? Because I sure do, and that thing was straight up garbage. Like, there has not been a good addition to this thing to make it attractive to any new user.
Yeah, it's attractive to literally nobody, as the Fallout First website will tell you. This is the most vehemently negative thing I've ever seen somebody put out, and of course, Bethesda didn't bother to, camp any of the websites along with this, because they didn't see this coming, did they? They didn't realize that people were going to take the fucking piss. Because of course they are.
I mean, the first paragraph of that it sounds like a Randy Pitchford thing. It honestly sounds like something he would say.
Now, I do love the fact that the fans bought this URL and put this version of the spiel up, because it is just chef's kiss.
Of course,
stuff.
Extra Life has sponsored the website now, and you give your money into this instead of Fallout First. That seems like a good idea to me. Give your money to Extra Life, because they're good people at Extra Life. Not as much as Bethesda. Like, I actually canceled my Doom Eternal order today. Like,
Oh, really?
after all of this, I can't count on them to put out, maybe they will, and maybe I'll come back and buy a game. But also the fact that, The Last of Us is coming out a week before, I'm not going to have fucking time for it anyway, so.
Hmm. God.
Yeah. There's more we could talk about on this, but there's so much more we can talk about. Hey, what about that stuff with Blizzard, right?
I'm sure there's
goodness.
more.
I look back at our last few weeks, and every one, Blizzard has been the headline of it, and I didn't want to talk about Blizzard this week. I really didn't. But how do you not mention this?
Now, okay, so Blizz has come out saying that it was meant to do that to make it easier to ship. Now, look at the piece that falls off. That will not change your shipping profile. Like, that will still take up the same amount of room in a suitcase. Like, I could see if it came apart, like, so the whole top piece comes off. But just that little tiny logo, like, yeah, Blizz, you fucked up again.
I saw someone mention that it's actually made out of Blizzard's spine, so that's why it falls apart like that.
Oh my god.
Oh, they can have a good time of anything. Yeah, Blizzard came back. Yeah, it's supposed to do that, but at their crowning fucking moment for the tournament, holding up the trophy, it falls apart.
And I mean, the comments that the author of this article made with I would like to think that the trophy, which was presented to Lou at around the 1 hour and 53-minute mark in the video below, fell apart in protest to Blizzard's recent treatment of Hong Kong player Wai Chung Blitzchung, who was suspended and had his winnings withheld. The winnings were eventually restored for delivering a pro-Hong Kong message during a stream. No, the trophy of my imagination shouted, "This cannot go on!" It continued before bravely popping its top, letting it clatter to the floor of the stage. That's just beautiful.
Yes. God.
But poor Blizzard, they're trying so hard. And yeah, I know, right, Graves? Like, even if it's supposed to be able to come apart, maybe, like, put latches in place, screws things so it doesn't just, like, clunk apart.
And like you said, Graves, warn the person that you're handing it to.
But Blizzard has already started making announcements that this BlizzCon is going to be huge, and they're trying so hard. And there's going to be 6 exciting panels that they haven't discussed. What's there yet? They're special surprise panels.
Okay, see, the last time they said that, this is going to be a huge BlizzCon was last year, and what did we get? A fucking phone game that still hasn't been released.
And I'm still debating if I want to record any of BlizzCon this weekend. I might, and I'll let everyone know if I do plan to, but oh man, I can't imagine this being good.
I'm going to be stuck at work for the majority of the days, but I'm definitely going to be catching whatever I can when I get home. And I need to go get popcorn and booze because that watching is bearable. I could turn this into a drinking game. Every time Blizzard promises something brand new, take a shot. I'm 20 minutes in.
Now, we did talk about this a little bit last week because there were some rumors about Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 being part of these 6 coming soon panels. But we got some more information about that over the week, specifically from Slasher over at ESPN, almost basically confirming that Overwatch 2 is an actual thing.
Yeah, Overwatch 2 is definitely a thing. Apparently emails have been given to people that weren't supposed to get them, but I kind of honestly think that the emails Hey, you weren't supposed to get this email.
Well, here's the thing. Blizzard, if it was a company other than Blizzard, I might believe that. Just because Blizzard, they run their PR ship, very very tightly. And they run like this sort of thing is not something that would happen normally with them. I know they've been scooped in the past by like third-party storefronts and stuff like that, but they've never purposely on their own, like, quote unquote accidentally leaked something like this. So I really think this was a mess up on their part. That being said, what a mess up. Why are you sending this kind of sensitive information to to freelance people that are working on the event? You know, like it's just so interesting to see, like, that's what caused a lot of this to come out. But that being said, like, some of the details about what they're saying about Overwatch 2 are actually really interesting and could actually win over a good amount of the fan base. Like, it could generate a lot of excitement. I'm talking about like PvE, story mode, like some of the additional stuff in there, new heroes. There's a rumor that they might be going free to play with it. Like, I don't know, like, clearly, like, as we lined up in the Jason Schreier piece here over at Kotaku, they are going gung-ho on trying to change the narrative around the past 3 weeks or so with the company. Like, they are really trying to stave off any kind of protest potentialities, any kind of negativity that could be coming from the people that are attending BlizzCon that'll be in the rooms there. Obviously, that's not going to be completely within their control. We saw how that got out of hand with the Q&As last year, talking about that mobile game that still hasn't come out. So I don't know, like, I get that they're trying to win over the fan base, and huge announcements like these with the like awesome new games in awesome franchises that have giant fan bases is a very good way to generate some good karma with these people. But at the same time, you're not doing anything to address the issue at hand. And I think that as much as they believe they'll win over people with this, there will be some people that will just drop, like, the excitement for an Overwatch 2 or a Diablo 4 will supersede the wokeness in some people. It will. I've seen it. It happen. But I don't think it's going to have the effect as widespread as I think they think it will. It might hold them off from getting protested heavily at BlizzCon. It's not going to hold them off going forward with the continued criticism around, like, what they've said and what they've done since the Blitzchung incident.
Oh no, and as you mentioned, this article from Jason Schreier over at Kotaku is goddamn amazing. No, shut up. Mute that tab, thank you. I don't need to hear about Ghostbusters the game while I'm discussing BlizzCon.
Shout out Geo Media. I heard y'all deleted a webpage. What's up?
Well, I've been doing some poking around. Anybody want to buy some BlizzCon tickets?
I'm good.
How much we talking?
They're still available. I just searched through their ticket exchange, which is their official resale marketplace. Still done by AXS, which is a horrible, horrible box office, but that's work life. I don't want to talk about that. You can get. I went through the fullest amount of tickets possible, which is a limit of 5. We can get 5 portal passes, which are general admission tickets, for $700 a piece.
Sorry, I had my mic muted when I made my fart noise after you said that. So I'm just gonna do it again.
So there's none left through the official box office. And at present, it is just the official pass exchange that they have, which is pretty much like StubHub, but supported through AXS instead. So your resale is going to exceed your face value by a
Gross.
lot. But yeah.
So, anyway, the Schreier article goes into detail, even goes as far as to call out the special code names for each of the games as it goes through. For Fenris, for Diablo 4, Calypso for Overwatch 2, or whatever they will end up calling it, because apparently there's been some scuttlebutt about the name of it. And how many people have left Blizzard over the last year to be replaced in parts? And how Activision has stepped in so many ways because they're not happy with the way Blizzard normally makes games. This article is holy shit. It is an indictment of everything in the AAA gaming sphere.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought the people that make a Call of Duty game every year would be like, hey, maybe make some more games?
Hero talents, new modes, extra items.
Free Hong Kong.
And what's sad is it might work. Hey, a newly remastered Diablo 2, a new expansion for Warcraft? Could there be a surprise from Warcraft 3?
Like I said, like this will win.
Mobile games.
I mean, there will definitely be some mobile stuff. I think you'll get another thing about that Diablo mobile game at this. I'm sure that's one of the 6 coming soon events that everybody talked about. But like,
the only way they're going to bring back any faith, and I'm sorry for jumping in, is if the big announcement about their mobile game is that they're canceling it.
Well, here's the thing: they're not going to. Like that's I understand where you're coming from, but I think I'm just of the mindset where like you can have your mobile game exist separately from the base game. Like I think as long as it's not like integrated into Diablo 4, like I think it's perfectly fine to exist where it's at. People will play it, people won't play it, it's whatever. It's one of the things that Activision is almost forcing their hand to do in some ways. But like as long as they hit it out of the park with Diablo 4, I think that, and also don't hold a Q&A during that particular part of the panel, like I think it'll be perfectly fine. That thing is going to exist whether we like it or not. It's going to exist in an ecosystem that we really don't engage with, and I'm perfectly fine to let it exist over there as long as they're not diverting a ton of development power to that. And I honestly don't think they are.
No, I'm fine with it existing, honestly. And I don't know. There's always a chance that I look at Diablo 4 and go, oh, shiny, and end up buying it anyway, despite everything that has been said so far this year. I've held my breath. I've not bought anything from Blizzard for the last year, but this is really going to be the make or break point for them. If they don't do this whole year's worth of effort on their part to really put together a BlizzCon where they can highlight and show off, yeah, we're still Blizzard, we're still one of the best PC gaming companies in the world. This is their one chance, despite the fact that they've lost so much talent and so much love and just so much over the last year. But hey, they're not the only ones that have fucked up this week. This has been a fucking surprising ass week. Oh, I have loved everything from Twitter on this one. Refunds have been coming in swiftly for WWE 2K20 because this game is apparently a glitch fest. I have seen some of the wankiest shit going on in the ring ever in this game, and that is amazing. There have been some junk-ass WWE games in the past, but this has been amazing.
Oh, dear God.
Brian, I know you have plenty to say on this. Please fill us in.
Well, first off, let me just go ahead and put put it out there that I have refused to play a WWE video game for like the past decade because they have all been shit
Mhm.
since like probably I think the last one I played with any real regularity was 2008 because that one still felt okay, and even then it didn't feel all that good. This game though, it's weird. It's like THQ wasn't doing a very good job with it, but they still put in enough, like there was still like enough wonkiness or like weird like creation stuff that you could do with it that it was still intriguing.
Mm.
Since 2K took it over, it's been just basically here's a crap game for the most part without any of that weird wonky stuff that made it really fun just to fuck around with. And 2K20 is basically the cherry on top of this like 7-year long just shitstorm with this series. I know a lot of the glitches have been getting a lot of play. Like, yes, that stuff. The facial scans in this game are terrible. Like they all like have this like dead-eyed look that just like they're staring into your soul in a lot of ways. Like this one in particular that we're looking at, this is supposed to be Rey Mysterio with his mask on.
Mm.
That's not it. That's some weird Anthem bullshit right there. Jesus
Oh.
Christ. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's just
Nightmare
this-
fuel.
yeah. No, like this, and like the thing is, a lot of the issues with this game are not just within it itself. Like, yes, the facial scans are bad. Yes, there are glitches galore. Yes, like the gameplay, like the way the players control and the animations are still stilted and frustrating at times, and they look completely unrealistic in some ways. Those have been long been complaints, not just with this game, but with other games in the series. But one of the major fuck ups that 2K had with this was that there was a $120 edition of this game
Mhm.
that was available that came with like basically your copy was like autographed by Edge, WWE Hall of Famer, Canada's own, Touch the North, Edge, and apparently a number of copies of that 120. Jesus Christ, that fucking is so bad. Sorry. So copies of this $120 version of the game were going out without Edge's autograph on them, and fans were pissed to the point that they lashed out at Edge online. And Edge had to take it upon himself, like Edge and 2K support were basically just trying their best to control this major like shitstorm around the release of that high tier version of the game. Now, I will say this much: the people that made this game, like, they are definitely going for something wacky. Even like the glitches are not that though. Like the story mode in this game is completely ridiculous. Like there's like a future where like The Rock is president, and he beat Kane in the presidential election to become president. And like I've heard rumors that the final match in the story mode is like Bray Wyatt has a robot arm. And it's just like it goes some very weird places. Like the story mode opens up with your character getting beaten up for being a wrestling fan after sticking up for another kid who slips on their tray in the lunchroom in high school. It's just so weird. So like, yes, the game the game itself is fucked up. A lot of the stuff around the game is also like fairly messed up. And it is made for a plastic $60 copy of something that I just don't even know what I'm. It's like I open it up and it's like something at a naked lunch. God.
I can feel your rage and anger, and I'm sorry for just going through different things. The first, when I put hashtag fix into Google, it went straight to hashtag fix WWE 2K20. So I just started going through the GIFs, and they're so bad. Oh, they're worse than I remembered.
Nah, you're not wrong. Like it was trending on Twitter for good reason whenever the game launched. So like, and it's not necessarily that I'm like angry about it. It's just more so that I'm just like this is. It's sort of what I come to expect with these games because like like I said, like the WWE games have been crap for a long time. This is just if Donald Trump is the logical conclusion of Fox News's rise,
Mm-hmm.
this game is the logical conclusion of 10 years of bad development and sticking with a company like Ukes, who did not know how to develop a wrestling video game in the first place. So, even though I know, sorry, I have to say, they did switch developers. Ukes did not develop this game.
For what it's worth, I mean, I would honestly want an unpatched copy of this game that I could ensure would never get patched, that I could play when I was having a really bad day because I'd be busy laughing my ass off at these glitches.
Yeah, yeah, and just everything about this. You know, sometimes you change developers and you change your cycle, and you have a little period of changes and differences that make everything fine, but having to force yourself into putting in a refund on digital downloads when you never do it otherwise, it's a sign. Maybe you've gone too far. But hey,
Yeah.
even 2K Games isn't the only one having a week of it, or a ton of it really overall. Ubisoft has admitted that Recon Breakpoint has been a disaster.
I'm glad to see they're admitting it.
Yeah, they put out a statement, and you can read it in your own time. There's a whole lot here, but it's very frank. It's very honest. They've even gone so far, and we'll get a bit more into this later, but there's some delays because they do not feel any more confident in what they are putting out. And that's kind of refreshing from a publisher, honestly.
I mean,
I didn't even hear that Breakpoint was that bad, but it's not great either.
it's more so that like it's just middling in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's another Ghost Recon game. It's like Wildlands, but without any of the lush scenery or like sort of intriguing. And honestly, the story of Wildlands is not intriguing at all. But it doesn't have like that eyes on the cocaine sort of thing, if you know what I mean. Like we joked about that game based off of its presentation at E3 for years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only reason why I even wanted to touch that game in the first place was because of like I wanted to fight the friction, you know. So
Right.
like, and the fact that this game doesn't really have that, the most they have is like some send up of like libertarian, like uber libertarian Mark Zuckerberg
Mm.
in this game. Like that's the only like real fun quality to it in some ways. Other than that, it's just another Ghost Recon game with the same style stuff, and they got a big celeb in there, um, and that's really it. Like there's just not a lot of meat to chew on with this thing, so it makes total sense that it would fall on its face. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the article itself goes out of its way to point out that the live service fatigue is real, and especially in Ubisoft's court.
Well, whenever all of their live service games have the same infrastructure,
Mhm.
like it's honestly it's the same complaint many people have had about Ubisoft for a long time. Whether it be like the radio towers or the ginormous amount of side stuff or like collectibles, like just everything that people put that Ubisoft has put into their games, it makes the bridge to every franchise that they put out. Or at least every major mature franchise that they put out. You don't see them putting radio towers in Rabbids games, but although that would be fun. Anyway, but like it's just they take an element that works for a certain game and then they fatigue it so quickly by just putting it in everything. So like it makes total sense that whatever they found works with live services, specifically within like Rainbow Six Siege. And because I know some elements of what they did for the live service format of that game did make the transition over here, as well as into Wildlands after they figured it out finally. So like the fact that they're not innovating on this stuff. They're finding one thing that works and then just beating it into the ground the same way they've been doing for years.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Peter ended up taking part in the beta, and he had fun when he was playing with his friends.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it was, I believe his terms were repeat or grindy and kind of forgettable. Like it was pretty, but it was literally do the exact same thing over and over and over and over and over again until you want to throw your controller in frustration or your eyes start bleeding. Take your pick.
Yeah, it's the Telltale Games, problem of, yeah, you found something that works for you, but you've cached it again and again to the point that nobody cares anymore. It's how you killed Rock Band.
Yeah.
But at least they're trying. And, all of this is here. This is here for you. You can read it at any time that you like. And recommend all of that. And finally, they're working on it. Then that's all you can ask for.
Great. So we've hit the cycle of something is messed up at launch. They come out, they say they're working on it, and then we don't hear about it for months until the Cataclysm comes out. Oops. Sorry, I was thinking about Anthem again. Yeah, no, I mean the development team released a letter basically promising to deliver a better version of the game, like something that's more in line with the quote unquote gritty reputation that Ghost Recon carries. I don't know, like it's great that they got out in front of it, and that they were able maybe not out in front of it, but they were actually said something about like them trying to listen to the fan base and make changes to help the game become more customizable and more approachable from a Ghost Recon fan's standpoint. But at the same time, like, why didn't you just work on this stuff before you put it out? I know it's like the thing we say about all of these games. We've been saying it for feels like forever now. But like, why did you just work on this before you put it out? Why didn't you do this before you decided to make the Terminator crossover?
Because we needed that so badly.
Ugh.
I mean, I think I know why. They didn't work on this before they put it out because Ubi outsources their playtesters. I'm part of their playtest lab. I haven't had a chance to actually go to one just because work schedule never fits up with what they need. But I mean, if you get Ghost Recon fanboys that come in and they get to tool around with a brand new Ghost Recon game, they're not going to find fault with it. So as far as they knew, yes, this is perfect. And then when the not so fanboys started playing it, they went, oh shit, we fucked up again.
So it's time to walk it back, and then they'll come out with these games, and they'll be like, boy, this is the best stuff we'll ever produced, and people will be like, yeah, this is great, and the cycle will continue. But let's keep moving forward. The last but not least on this little gravy train going on here, Epic is suing one of its testers here. A certain gentleman made multiple Twitters to leak information about Fortnite Chapter 2 and is now suing the hell out of him for not holding up to contract obligations.
Did it say how much they're suing him for?
It does not yet. It is reported, but we don't know how much for.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that it's going to be a hefty amount, probably more than they actually need to be suing for. But Epic, they want to keep people from breaking NDAs.
It's hard for me to be mad at Epic for suing him. It's going to depend upon how much the lawsuit is. Let's see if Scrid has anything. Nah, just a complaint.
Yeah. I mean, Epic is totally in the right here, honestly. I mean, whether like putting aside whatever damages they're seeking from this, like they're in the right. Like they do sign a contract
Mm-hmm.
to not talk about season 11, and then went on Twitter and DM people saying, "Yo, I got that hot season 11 news. Come check out the tea."
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how dumb?
Yeah, and
How
how
dumb
could
do
this
you have to
be
be?
remotely fucking worth it for you? Like nobody was going to listen to you because you're absolutely nobody. So you're still going to die in obscurity on this and lose all of the money that you got for doing the contract work in the first place.
Yeah.
And he seemed to think that if he used multiple Twitter accounts, nobody would figure it out. Good man. Good man. And I just want to drop this in here. This was just an interesting article from PC Gamer. You know what? I'm going to throw it in the chat. You guys have fun with that later. Read it on your own fucking time. We're not going over this because it's long. But boy, this goes into the life of a community manager at a video game. And we have talked nearly an hour about things that legitimately should make you angry about games. But that's not what most of the people who complain about video games on the internet complain about. They complain about some amazing things. One of my favorite is they do a whole section in this on the Real ID thing that Blizzard tried to pull out several years ago, where your real name would be on any community post that you made. And boy, do I remember, especially the World of Warcraft role players. They were not happy. These are people who've built a life on anonymity, and suddenly you're making them use their real names? Holy shit. Oh, they were certain they were going to be doxxed and killed, which, not really.
Yeah, not the smartest of.
But yeah, Lunk Winkle, Winky, you wrote a good article. It's a really fucking good article. And I just happened across it in the middle of all of this fire and brimstone going on out there. Read it. It's fucking good. But let's change our topics now from fire and brimstone. Let's actually go into somewhat of a happy time because man, the last week everything has fucking come out. Everything has either taken place or is about to take place. Starting off, if I can make my mouse cursor actually do things properly, blah blah blah. The Outer Worlds finally came out, and people seem to mostly love it. There's a few people that hate it, but primarily it is a beloved game. From what I gather, if you liked Fallout New Vegas, if you like walking talking games, you'll love this as well. If you hate capitalism, you'll love this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
general consensus in this house has been, because Peter's been tooling around with it, has been
Really?
Yeah, the story is really, really weak. And they took Fallout's whole thing of 95% of your story is told via consoles that you find throughout the world. So read all the things when, all you want to do is go shooty. Um, it was, it's pretty, it's well built, but
Yeah, if the story for this game does not latch with you, this is a game that you will hate. I watched Goggles play a bit of it, and she loves it. This might be her game of the year, and if you're that person, congratulations! This game's going to be amazing. You're gonna just like love it. You're going to eat it up like pudding. Great. If you're more like me and kind of get bored of listening to people talk at you, it really depends on what sort of gamer you are.
yeah, it struck me from the little bit I watched of kind of Firefly-esque. Get a ship, get a crew,
Mm-hmm.
fight the man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I was sitting here doing my own thing, and every so often I glanced back at what he was doing, and it seemed like he was always stuck in dialogue. Always. I saw maybe like 20 minutes of game of like actual combat.
Oh, I watched Joan play 2 hours of this game. I saw zero combat.
Yeah, right?
I didn't see combat until Josh took back over the TV so he could play Borderlands instead.
Hmm. So basically, you just went from one extreme to the other.
Yeah, very huge dichotomies, by the way, between Borderlands and the Outer Worlds. Completely different game styles, and I hate both of them.
See, it's interesting to hear both of y'all like kind of be like on it, because like to me, exactly what y'all are describing, I am just ready to chomp on it. Like I want that on a silver platter in meal form, so I can just shove it all in my mouth.
And
Like
I understand.
that's yeah.
It's not a game made for me. It's not at all.
Yeah. Same way that Borderlands is not a game made for me, but I'm glad that Josh is having fun with it.
Yeah. And that's fine.
Doo-doo.
If we all liked the same game, we'd all be out here just playing Undertale over and over again, and we can't do that.
That's true. I mean, you can.
I've done it a few times already, but...
Yeah.
As well, Luigi's Mansion 3 comes out on Thursday, and the reviews so far have been pretty positive, not super positive, making an 86 at this point on Metacritic. From what all I have heard, what all I've read, it builds on the Luigi's Mansion formula. The gameplay is a little bit more difficult, but then again, if you played the original Luigi's Mansion or the DS, it wasn't exactly a challenge, but you're going to get so many hearts thrown at you, you're not going to die anyway. It's just a fun time. You go through different floors of a hotel, and you get a different experience on every different floor. It's great. It's going to be... This is a me game, and I'm excited for it.
Yes, this is definitely a you game, because I don't know. This is something I would not play on my own, personally. Just not my style of thing.
I can completely understand. Hey, John Borg, how's it going? Yeah, if you don't like this kind of game, I totally understand. Because this isn't exactly... It's a janky game from everything that I've seen. It's a little bit awkward. It's silly. It's goofy. The money that you get from poking around on the floors just goes to a shop where you buy things you don't really need in the first place. Instead of the original Luigi's Mansion, where you end up with a giant mansion instead if you get all of the monies. Yeah, so it's definitely not going to be a game for everyone, but I'm for it. The next game on the list, Medieval, came out. The re-release of the original, and from everyone I've listened talk about it, now I was not a Medieval fan back in ye olden days, so a from the ground up remake of the game, where basically you're retreading the same thing, I can't put my stamp of approval on it, and a lot of people have basically agreed.
See, I was a Medieval fan from back in the day, mainly because it was the only good demo on the demo disc at the Walmart near my house.
That's mostly where I know it from.
Yeah, so I played that demo to shit, and I really liked Medieval back then. even being a fan of the game, though, I was kind of surprised that they would actually remaster it. Because I just didn't feel like it was a huge hit for them back then. And from everything that I've read, like, this doesn't really correct the mistakes of the first game in a lot of ways, and it just doesn't translate very well.
Yeah, and it kind of adds its own mistakes with the in pushed firing and all of that stuff, where it zooms in on you.
Yeah, I swear to God, the camera system is just. It was stupid back then. It's stupid now. God, I don't know. Like, it doesn't surprise me at all that this thing is not hitting people where it needs to. So.
Yeah, Medieval isn't a Crash Bandicoot. It's not a Spyro. Yeah, those games did well because people fucking loved those games. But yeah, if you were a fan of Medieval back in the day, it's that, but prettier and with more stuff to do in the exact same way that you remember it, with a little bit of additional level to it. So hey, you might love it. If you love the original, this could be for you, and I hope it is for you. Hitting up next, the reviews for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The user score has dropped to the fucking bottom despite the Metacritic score being fairly average. And I believe the user score is that low because the type of people who post Metacritic scores are the kind of people who are going to focus primarily on the single player game. And from everything that I've seen, everything that I've read on the single player for COD Modern Warfare, it's lackluster. It exists in one note, and that note is very loud and very angry.
I've heard it's actually a very racist note.
I haven't heard that one, but
yeah, apparently, like, this, like, stop me if you're surprised here, but a game that is trying to, like, focus on, like, the Middle East has a problem characterizing the combat situation in the Middle East.
No!
I mean, who would have thought a game that starts literally with a suicide bombing would have problems going forward in its narrative?
Plus, I've also heard they brought Russia into an attack that actually existed in real life that Russia had nothing to do with, so that they could add another baddie into the situation and make America look good.
So stupid. Like, this game, from what I've read, this reeks of that last Medal of Honor game where they tried to modernize it, and, like, you just played as a bunch of different special ops dudes with giant beards going into Afghanistan and just firing into the wind. So, like, I don't know. Like, it's just that, and also the sheer size of the game, and apparently the install takes fucking forever.
Oh yeah, it's a huge.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Linz. Go ahead.
All good. As to the depictions in this game, didn't you guys realize this isn't Call of Duty? This is the Team America World Police video game.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and everyone who loves America and can go in, play the multiplayer, and shoot a whole lot of brown people and feel good about themselves. So that's all you really need, right?
Hooray.
So when are you guys moving to Canada?
I mean, I'm basically already fucking there, so throw a stone.
I mean, to be fair, I live in a place where it feels like a completely different country in some ways, thankfully.
Nice.
Except for when the Patriot Prayer people show up. What up? Get fucked.
And if anybody has really embodied the spirit of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, this article from Joshua Rivera, I think, kind of hit the head on what everyone has said so far. Is that this game demands your attention. It wants you to pay attention, but it's basically a Transformers movie, right? Is that it keeps hitting loud notes over and over again, and you don't feel anything for these characters. There's no bonding experience. The campaign's over before you realize it, and you can't remember anything about it once you're done. that is the story that a lot of people I know have put it together on this. But hey, the multiplayer's fun.
Yeah.
If you want a good multiplayer, hey, you could do worse. Maybe just skip the single player. Which is a shame, because I can remember us during EA looking at it and like, oh, this sounds like it could be really interesting, you know? Maybe they'll bring back what made the original Modern Warfare great.
I mean, it's always possible, but like honestly, like after the way that they botched World War II a couple years ago, like I really lost any faith that they would deliver something good. Especially after, also not to mention now Black Ops 4, like Black Ops, arguably the most consistent like subsect of the Call of Duty franchise, and you put out another game in that line, and that one falls flat. You know, it's just buff.
So is this just another case of taking something that you used to do well and beating it into the ground?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I mean it was beaten to the ground back whenever Ghosts came out.
Yeah. But of
Anyway.
course, new games aren't the only thing that's in this week. Delays are also the name of this week. The Last of Us 2 has been delayed to spring. Honestly, I'm kind of happy because it was going to come out exactly when Final Fantasy VII came out, and there was a little bit of a conflict. It only conflicted with Doom Eternal, and I don't fucking care about Doom Eternal after this week with Bethesda, so eat my dick. I'm going to play Last of Us Part 2 and have a funner time.
Well, here's the main problem with them moving it to where they did.
Mm.
This game's gonna come out like only a week or two before E3.
Woo! Oh, I'm gonna have no time for anything, because as soon as... Oh, I'm gonna have to do E3 coverage again this year.
Well, no, because you figure they've pushed it back, so that way it's so close to E3, so that way they can already have their apology speeches written and can deliver them on a global stage.
Well, that's if Sony even goes to E3.
No, and also Freak is entirely fucking correct here. I would rather have a game delayed rather than have another, another WWE going on, having whatever the fuck happened with Blizzard recently, having a Fallout 76. Okay, fine. Delay your fucking game. Give it to me in a better condition. I don't need it now. I want it now. I do. My heart wants it right now. It's not in my PlayStation, so I'm mad. But my logic brain, the actual part that understands and rationalizes things, it's fine. Give it to me when it's good.
The thing that is odd to me though is that they announced the delay only like a month after they announced the initial release date. Like that's a very quick turnaround time to be like, oh well, I guess it's not gonna be ready.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing in all of this. I already had a countdown timer website going for when the game was going to come out. So if they were going to delay it, it would have been better to have delayed it and be like, hey, we're going to put it out in March, and nobody would be any the wiser that they wanted to put it out originally in February.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people too would be a little bit more amenable to the delay if they were saying, we're doing this to reduce crunch. Because we've talked about crunch on here a great many a time. And it's still a real problem. So if they're doing this to reduce crunch on the game, I would be a lot happier.
Absolutely.
Same here.
And yeah, John, everyone is going to jerk themselves off vigorously at E3, and I'm excited to see that next year. But wait, there's more, because this wasn't the only game that got delayed. This was the week of delays. We kind of poked at it a little bit here. Thank you, Rebecca Valentine, over at GameIndustry.biz, one of our favorite people to reference, because, boy, all of the games from Ubisoft got delayed. Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine, Watch Dogs Legion, all have either been pushed into mid-2020 or into the 2021 area.
Yeah, this is kind of in response to what happened based off of the Ghost Recon Breakpoint stuff we talked about. Ubisoft reported a drastic, uh, uh, a drastically low income number for the quarter based off of their projections, um, due to Breakpoint basically bombing upon release, and so because of that, they've pushed back development on some of these other games. It's not Some of the reasoning isn't necessarily there. Like they weren't very upfront about all the reasons why, but they're basically, honestly, they're probably just trying to make sure that these three games are ready to go from day one, unlike Breakpoint was. So, especially whenever they're going to be coming out right around the same time as the next console cycle starts. So, like, they want to make sure that these three games, especially the Watch Dogs Legion, they want to make sure that game specifically is ready to go day one,
I mean,
because
it's
that
their
is like,
iconic game. They have to get it right.
yeah, I mean, well, it's one of them. I'd say like that and Assassin's Creed are probably their two right now. But like
Mm.
that, like what right now, Watch Dogs is the number one priority, I think. So yeah, it makes total sense why they would push these back.
Don't mind me. I
Well,
will shit on the iconic hat from Watch Dogs 2 for the rest of my life.
Like,
well, the thing is too, like especially with Watch Dogs, their first one launched with a lot of hype and kind of fell flat, and
Mm.
they gained back a lot of goodwill from the gaming community with the second one. So they're trying desperately to cling to that.
The first Watch Dogs wasn't even that bad, but it was, yet again, it was not what they had promised, so it did feel as good. It was kind of like the original Fable when it came out. They promised the moon, and then they put out a pretty good game.
Well, like in Canada with Watch Dogs 1, there was even more hype because they were actually running a contest that was paired with a mobile ARG, and it was very Ingress like. And the grand prize was like a VIP, all expenses paid trip to the premiere for the game, like the launch party for the game, as well as there's a cash prize and I think a car.
Hmm. Yeah, they did their best for it, but either way, these next two articles I kind of want to hit up fairly quickly, so we're just going to kind of go through these a little bit. A new community management AI has been added to various games that they have been testing primarily with the help of Google Cloud to get rid of toxicity, basically. They've been able to have a reduction in toxic messages in the community by about 8%, which is fairly good. They've done their best to minimize the amount of false positives that it gets, but of course, with any AI, it's going to give some amount of false positives, so they've kind of tweaked it down, which is why we're only seeing this much, and it's only a very small rollout so far, but it's still pretty cool.
yeah, this comes from the esports organization Face It. They've been running this AI program Minerva on some of their esports broadcasts, and it's been pretty good. They ran it on a number of CS:GO streams, and delivered a good 20,000 bans for verbal abuse and spam, a 20% reduction in toxic messaging during those streams. And so, yeah, I mean, they're still working on the technology. Obviously, this is just in the test phase, and it's been working out pretty good. Anything that's going to make these sort of presentations better going forward is very welcomed.
Yep. And our next, and this is one of those things that a lot of people are going to love. Death Stranding is going to be coming to PC in 2020. So for those of you without a PlayStation, you too can take part in this weirdness. And hey, if it's good, I still think it could potentially be a shit show, but we'll see. The 505 Games is going to be the publisher for PC. Probably not coming to Xbox, but if you are a hardcore die-hard PC gamers, here you go.
This makes me really happy because, yes, I have a PS4.
Mm.
Do I use said PS4 for anything other than Netflix? No. all of my gaming is done on PC. So yes, give me the weird. I want the weird. Gimme, gimme, gimme.
Oh, you want the weird? You want to talk about weird? Let's talk about weird.
Always.
Get weird. Get it.
I was going to give it a minute first, but no, you brought up weird. Let's talk about Suda51 and Swery65, the 116th best developer in the entire world. Anyway, you may know these guys from their various games. You've got Deadly Premonition, you've got No More Heroes. They've apparently been coming together for the last 2 years and getting drunk every weekend so that they can collaborate and figure out a game that they want to build together. Originally, it was going to be some PSVR game about about food, but they said fuck that. So they got together at a random bar and brought in IGN Japan, and just a bunch of random bar folk got to sit down and listen to them talk about their things. Suda did show off the next No More Heroes game, which the bar people clapped and applauded for, which is a good sign, but also we didn't get to see it. But also you could probably get a bunch of people at a bar to applaud basically anything. 30 minutes before coming to this, they came up with the name Hotel Barcelona. They had nothing together beforehand, just walked in to this.
I fucking love this.
While they're sitting here drinking, that this game would be called Hotel Barcelona because they want to go visit Barcelona. But hey, it could also be Tokyo, South Africa, Venezuela, whatever. They continue talking through this. They mention that Devolver Digital gave them $1 million, or $1 million roughly in yen, to make this game, to which Devolver Digital tweeted out, well, we didn't really know about this, but we're really looking forward to talking to you guys, so bring this in. We'll be happy to talk with you about this. They texted the developer of Siren, Keiichi Toyama, in the middle of it, just to ask if he wants to be involved on it, and at the very end of this, he says yes. He texts back with a yes. It's amazing! This whole interview was hilarious, because they're just sitting up there, tossing the shit, drinking, people in the audience just cheering to things. They don't know who the fuck these two guys are up here, but here they are, just talking about weird video games. I'm so excited.
Okay. Firstly, due to the numbers in their names, can we just refer to them as the 116?
I'm fine with that.
If that's not the name
Secondly-
of their like short-term studio, then I am going to riot.
There has to be a room 116. There has to be.
Right. Secondly, like my first introduction to Swery was oddly enough when you came up with your Switch and started playing through The Missing.
Oh, that was your introduction.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm already in love.
Okay, you know about Deadly Premonition at this point, right?
I have heard of. I haven't had a chance to poke at.
You need to poke.
Poke vigorously, yes.
Is it going to terrify me as badly as doing Stories
No.
Untold?
No.
Okay.
Do you like
'Cause,
David
I
Lynch
mean,
movies? Do
I
you
like
like Twin
Mindfucks.
Peaks?
I really like Mindfucks.
Okay. Okay. This game, like Deadly Premonition, it's required reading to me.
You know what? Maybe it was released for PC too, right?
I'm not sure.
I know there's a version of it coming to Switch. There's like a port coming to Switch.
Yeah, and Deadly Premonition 2 is coming out at some point.
Yes.
Let me see. Yes, it was released for PC, so I will get my hands on it. And you know what I'm going to do? I'll stream it.
There you go.
Because I mean,
Yes.
what's better than a mind melt than sharing a mind melt with friends?
This will be a horror game, and Swery himself isn't one for jump scares, but Suda is. So this is going to be tremendous.
I'm excited. I am super excited. Um, I want to see this happen. I don't want it to just stay being a drunken amount of bullshit. I want to see an actual game. Give me a game, and especially if Devolver's involved because they were behind Stories Untold, um, or Untold Stories, one of the two.
The story's untold.
There's two different games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I can't remember. Damn it. Wait. Stories Untold.
Ah.
Okay.
Had to check my desktop. um, that game, I got through 3 episodes of the 4, got like 10 minutes into episode 4 and broke. Devolved into a gibbering panic attack. And
Couldn't blame you.
I'm gonna defeat it. I will defeat it. But I wanna see this. Give me more.
Yeah, I am so excited to play this game and shit my pants. These are two of my favorite developers of all time. Literally, they have made a game for me. And when like Devolver Digital was brought into it and all of these weird ideas, like I want it so bad. I need this game. Anyway, we're gonna finish out by catching up on some of our previous stories that we have been following. Probably the last story we'll hit up on Echo Fox. I hope so.
We'll see. I mean, Rick Fox finally left the company after this months-long debacle with that racist investor. And I mean, basically, Echo Fox is the real loser in this whole thing. They lose the man who basically brought the team to a much larger prominence. They lose his name is on the company.
Yeah.
And also they lost their League of Legends spot
Mhm.
because of all of this. So like, it's the logical conclusion to where this is going to end up, just based off of if you've been watching this for the past few months, like I have. It's just a shame in a lot of ways that it had to come to this, because I know Rick Fox has a lot of passion for the esports realm, and it wouldn't surprise me if he does end up getting back into it at some point. Probably not. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the near future, honestly.
Raizada was racist. So there you go, freak. You got your 50-50 chance right there.
Yeah, racist.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, unsurprising, but also sad to see it happen. We'll see what happens with Rick Fox getting back into there. The only facet of Echo Fox that have been getting a lot of prominence was I think they have a Call of Duty team, but with the Call of Duty League coming into play, like it's not really known if they're going to try and get a spot in that league. And then also you had the fighting game community, like Sonic Fox being the major piece there for Echo Fox. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there going forward. But
yeah,
we'll
I
see.
can't see Sonic Fox being huge fan of staying on this team after this. But he's already got a contract, doesn't he, for several years?
Yeah, he's under contract right now, but once that contract is up, it'll be interesting to see where he goes.
I can't see him staying. But speaking of staying, hey, I know everyone loves their Origin, but EA may finally be coming back to Steam.
Did someone actually tell you that they love Origin?
No one's ever told me that they love Origin.
I just wanted to make sure, because I needed to add to my people I need to have a very stern talking to with.
But yeah, EA just tweeted this out and said this is big news, and Steam.
All right.
Sure, that's
Whatever.
one way to say it. But some Redditors have some more information that makes it sound way more like this is going on than a coffee cup with steam coming off of it. Some old games, the Saboteur has been marked for coming. Other things along this. And if Origin dies, it dies. I don't think anyone gives a fuck.
I don't know if Origin's actually going to die.
It's
But
not.
it probably won't, especially because they do still have a paid subscription service through it. I don't know how many people use it, or how much money they're making off of that, but I think as long as it's somewhat profitable, they'll keep it going. But what will be interesting to see is if like which games come to Steam, because like if they're just gonna put their entire library up there, yeah, Origin does not need to exist anymore. But I mean, unless you already have a fan base that knows to go there, and they've tried for years to try and teach their fan base to go there for their games, and even though Origin as a platform is frustrating, but like if it's only a select number of games, like older games like the Saboteur or Mirror's Edge 2 or stuff like that, that's going to be up on Steam. This is basically a non-story. Like if you don't have new releases going up available on Steam and Origin simultaneously, then there's really nothing. There's not a ton to report here in a lot of ways. So we'll just have to. I know their next big release is Jedi Fallen Order, and if that goes live on Steam day one, then yes, this is a huge deal. I mean, I would imagine putting their games in front of as many eyes and as many consumers as they can would be a very good route to go, especially with a game that has as much promise as Fallen Order has so far. But I don't know, like the jury's still out on this, if it actually matters.
Yeah, like I would have been amused if they had brought their games to Epic myself, but that's me. I have Origin installed for exactly 2 reasons. I am a SimCity apologist, for one, and the other, they randomly decide to give out a game like once a year, and I'm good with that. Moving on, we have brought up Mixer before because of their deal with Ninja. They have now officially signed Shroud, so the 2 biggest faces of Twitch are gone. They're Mixer faces now.
Less competition for us. Woo!
Woo! One very interesting development that came out after this, though, was that apparently Twitch was like muting. You weren't able to search for Shroud's channel anymore on Twitch after he came out. So a little weird.
It's good to see they parted company on such good standing together.
Yes.
Such
fairy.
I am going to be honest with you, John Borg. If Mixer wants to buy us out, they can fucking buy us out. We are for sale. What are you offering on the table? A pack of Twix, a couple boxes of of biscuits. Okay, fine, give it to us. I'll take it. Whatever you got.
I am not averse to being called a sellout if I can live comfortably.
Yeah, if Mixer wants to give us like the same what they gave to Ninja, I'm down.
Oh God! If they gave us $50 million for 6 years, I will quit my job happily, sir. I'll tip my hat goodbye.
I can afford to retire in the Caymans at like 35 years old.
I'm a cheap date. If you guys want to buy me some fucking Pop-Tarts, I'm down. Just want you to know, Mixer, I'm here for you. And our last official story, because me and Brian just have the biggest erection for Death Stranding, just the hugest. Conan
literally less than 2 weeks away.
They announced that Conan O'Brien is coming in to Death Stranding.
Yes!
As the wandering MC. Of course, they're mad because I have this up here while we're streaming this because I don't want people to see random ads in the middle of this. I don't use ad blocker in my day-to-day. I'm sorry, okay? But Conan O'Brien comes together, gives you a monologue spiel, and it's hilarious, and then gives you an otter helmet so you can go swimming down the river otter style. It's so beautiful. It tingles all of my happy places. I love Conan O'Brien. I love dumb Kojima shit. And it's all together in one place.
Mm-hmm.
And the video for the otter swimming is so freaking cute. I want one.
Fuck it, we're going to YouTube for this. And, Freak, you're right. Did it need to happen? No. No, not at all.
I'm so glad it did. I want this game to be as weird and out there as possible. I want the game to be playable and I want it to be good and engrossing, but I want it to be just weird as shit. I
I-
want to see everything that Kojima wants, like everything from that mind, just put out into the world.
But that hat, though.
It's just so weird.
It's so dumb and so cute, and freak, I would get banned from all of the places for getting a chance to touch Conan's butt. I would never be allowed anywhere. It's fine. So another celebrity cameo is here in Death Stranding. Look at that!
Like, look at this one.
So good!
This is so dumb. This is the best dumb in the world.
Oh,
This is-
Jesus.
God, this is what we needed after that first hour of the show. This is what we needed so badly.
Oh no, don't go to reviewing Medieval. I'm done. It's over.
BlizzCon behave. We have Norman Reedus in an otter suit and a weird hologram of Conan O'Brien.
God, it's only 2 weeks away. I thought it would never happen. I thought every year we just have a weird, obtuse E3, and I loved it every year, and I'm so sad. Next year there won't be another obtuse E3 for us to sit through with another.
There will be enough. We only have one more edition of this show until that game comes out, by the way.
Yeah. We're the next that episode is just going to be me and Brian jerking off vigorously to that game. I apologize, Lindsay. That's how it's going to go.
Set your calendars. November 11th. That Monday, that is the day that the Mr. Video Game Super Show dies. It dies stranding. On brand, on point. God damn it. That game.
On the 11th, honestly, I don't know if there will be a show. It'll be dependent on whether or not we can tear the two of you away from the game.
I'll pull myself
Yeah.
away for work.
Yeah, me and Brian, we're fine coming together to yell at each other about this dumb shit.
Yes.
But that is the last official article of this episode, and I want to remind everyone there is a Dead Sun community Discord. There's a link at the doobly-doo at the bottom down in the do the thing. Go to the place, join us. We have set up a whole bunch of channels now. We've been using it just for us to talk about projects and shit, but we've decided that if you want to come in, talk about video games, politics, or wrestling, or what have you, come along, talk with us, because we love talking about dumb shit together. Anyway, of course, you cannot finish an episode of Mr. Video Games ever without declaring your Mr. Video Games of the Week. It is October 28th, 2019. Mr. Video Games, if you don't know, is the best, the worst, the most tragic, the most amazing, the dumbest thing from a person, place, thing, what have you, that together brings you together, and you know that this is literally video games that you're looking at right here. And this week's winner, I have never heard of this before, but OpenCritic won by finding a bug in their system because of WWE 2K20. They've never had a 0% critic response before. Never had it before. So they didn't realize there was a bug that made it display as %. So thank you, WWE, for bringing us a game so bad that it literally broke a website.
Brought bugs out of places that it didn't even touch.
I mean, that's just fucking impressive.
I mean, it is very impressive in the worst way. So bad. Just Jesus. Ugh. I cannot believe. Like, it's just. I mean, I don't know what else to say about this game. Like, it's just so terrible. So bad. Ugh.
The reactions. Oh my god, the reactions.
What's beautiful about this, though, and I'm just gonna get like a short wrestling diatribe here. I love that this is coming out less than a week before their next Saudi Arabia event, which is on Thursday,
Hmm.
by the way. And also the same week that a giant, big, like, is WWE racist thing has happened.
Oh.
They're having a lot of fun PR right now. So good on you, WWE. All right.
All right, but this has been Mr. Video Games for October 28th, 2019. Lady Merowyn, any last words for us this evening?
Um, I mean, as always, be cool to each other, love one another, be the change you want to see in the world. Um, Super excited to see Death Stranding, how these two end up reacting to it. I've been listening to Slackers squee over it for like the last forever. I will never forget the first time he visited and ended up picking up, what was it?
Oh,
The Metal Gear Solid 5.
Mm-hmm.
That
Because of
was
course
my
I brought that on my first travel with me.
Dude, you bought it up here.
That's right, I did buy it in Canada.
And that was my intro to Kojima.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure I watched you play like the first hour and a half of that game, and all I could say was, "What the fuck is this?"
That's my favorite game style. You don't understand. That's why I love Suda so much. If I play a game and have no idea what's going on, I am my happiest.
So I might end up streaming tomorrow. Keep an eye on my Twitters at elmerowin. I want to beat Stories Untold. I need to beat that game. I will not let it defeat me. Panic attacks be damned. And it's Spooptober, so I mean, hug a horror gamer.
Brian, any last words for tonight?
Just to remind everybody, you can read writing stuff over at outsports.com and also at pastemagazine.com. Everything from pro wrestling to sports to tech to games, it's all over the board there. Also, I've been really happy with the response to my wrestling podcast with Outsports. It's called LGBT in the Ring. Comes out every Thursday. We've done 2 episodes so far. They've been really cool. Had Kiera Hogan from Impact Wrestling on last week, and that was pretty rad. Really fun and heartwarming discussion around her recent coming out press tour around Chicago. And then this week, I could go ahead. I brought up the Saudi Arabia event, the Crown Jewel event happening on Thursday. Well, before that goes live, check out the podcast where I will be discussing that event as well as the involvement of Cain Velasquez and Tyson Fury at that event with BoxingScene.com's Corey Erdman. I apologize there. Corey and I, like, we've known each other for a little while, and this is the first time we've actually got to sit down and discuss combat sports and wrestling, and it's going to be a fun conversation, I feel. So just you can download that anywhere you get your podcast. Just look for Outsports on your podcast feeds.
All right, Free Quiet, John Borg, Mr. Graves, anybody else that I'm brain spacing on. Thank you, everyone who came tonight. Any of my lurkers out there? Yes, we love lurkers. Listen to us do the talky words. You can also find us at youtube.com/CBGB Games, CBGP, Change Before Going Productions. That's where we talk about all of our dumb things as well. Just a little promotion. You may expect a random ass video to appear there in 2 weeks of something dumb that I'm working on that has nothing to do with everything. So thank you all for coming.
Hey, Free Quiet, thank you so much for the bits too. That was awesome.
Yeah, Freak, thank you. You're our first cheerer ever, so you take the number 1 spot at 79. Maybe 10 too many, but you know.
Still, that's just extra nice.
It's 10 plus nice. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. And yeah, I keep saying I'm going to work on getting the podcast going. I swear to God, I'm going to work on that. bad things keep coming up for the people involved in it. Anyway, we've been Mr. Video Games for October the 28th, 2019. Think you all have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.